Hey everyone, it's Ed Brainy here with a hardcore Nuzlocke challenge. This time we're doing Psychic types only in Pokémon Red. While I love Pokémon Yellow, I've never played the original games before, and I'm excited to check them out. I know they're supposed to be a buggy mess, but it'll be cool to see where the franchise started out. In Generation 1, the Psychic type is the most broken type possibly ever. Not only do Steel and Dark types not exist yet, but Ghost types can't even affect Psychic types, meaning they're only weak to bugs. Making matters even more absurd is that there are only 4 bug-type moves, but the only half-decent one can be learned by Beedrill exclusively, and Beedrill's weak to Psychic types anyways. This probably won't be the most difficult run, but I'm excited to see what challenges pop up along the way. There's 7 Psychic types in Generation 1, but 2 of them, Jinx and Mr. Mime, are locked behind trades. I'm gonna be upfront and say that I'm breaking my personal no trades guideline to get these, because I never feel like I get to use either. And because Alakazam needs a trade to evolve, we'll only have access to Kadabra. But that's all the modifications to this available list we're making. Before starting, let's go over some rules. They're gonna be in the description, but some key ones for reference are that you can only catch the first viable encounter in each location. You can't catch duplicates of a line. No items in battle outside of held items. Battle mode on set. If a Pokemon faints, it can no longer be used in battle. And there are level caps equal to a gym leader or league member's ace. With that out of the way, let's begin! One more thing actually. Because the first Psychic encounter is in Abra, and there are no Psychic encounters before the first gym, I'm making Mr. Mime my starter, and keeping it for the run. Abra isn't viable early in a hardcore Nuzlocke, and if you want to know more about why, there's a great JRose 11 video that I've linked in the description. But the short of it is that Abra just can't use anything that would do enough damage against Brock until past the level cap. Mr. Mime as an encounter just makes the process more streamlined. This is something of an arbitrary call, but I'm rolling with it. I name my Mr. Mime Mind. My rival tries to challenge me. I give him a Squirtle because I frankly think it's the least directly easy starter to face. But that said, Confusion hits him twice for the win. My second battle with him is a little tougher in that both his Pidgey and his Squirtle crit me, but they still don't even take mine to half health while mine 2 hits them both. I make it to Brock with mine at level 12, and Brock is really easy at this point. Because I have Confusion, I can just do a ton of damage to his team and fast. Geodude goes down in 2 hits, and then Onix just goes for Bide. So I play it safe and spam Barrier until I can take them out in a second Confusion. I guess it really is mind over matter when it comes to rock types. I try to get through Mount Moon on minimum battles, but I get distracted and run into a youngster. At least we dispatch him easily and can move on. I officially joined the Superior Dome Gang and head to Cerulean. I see the Jinx trainer, and we're so close, but no Poliwhirl. Soon, my precious baby, I promise. I take on my rival before Misty. This is the first battle that I need to really plan for, especially because I'm underleveled. His Pidgeotto takes a quarter off mine before they respond with a crit to bring Pidgeotto to a third. Awesome! A second quick attack brings mine to half before I can take Pidgeotto out. But now Abra's in, and here I set up 3 barriers, knowing they can't do anything to me, before going for Confusion. It looks like a 5-hit KO, but I get a crit to thankfully make it a little bit faster. Rattata doesn't use quick attack, and I take them out with a Confusion. Squirtle does pitiful damage with Tackle as I 2-hit for the win. I make it through Nugget Bridge, where I'm recruited to join Team Rocket in the worst pitch of all time. Like seriously, don't fight the kid you're trying to convince. But now we can get our second Pokemon of the run. Just to the left, there's a 15% chance of getting an Abra, and after just a bit of running around, we find one and never mind. Well, the good news is that I can get one on Route 25 too, and if that doesn't work, I don't really need one, but oh, okay, I'll take it. We name Abra Brain. Mine is close to the cap, so I should train Brain up until mine gets to level 21, which is perfect because Brain gets to level 14 at the same time, and then I can just use 2 rare candies I got to evolve them into Kadabra. Kadabra is a beast now. A glass cannon for sure, but less glassy than in the future, considering special attack and defense are still 1 stat. And now we can just breeze through the remaining trainers to get to Bill's house, where we save him from Jeff Goldbluming himself. And now we can take on Misty. But actually, what happened to Clefairy? I'm so curious. Misty was a roadblock I wasn't expecting. And that's on me. I probably should have anticipated she'd be hard considering how much trouble a random Slowpoke gave me a couple minutes before. But I didn't prepare, and while Staryu is easy, Starmie gets incredible Gen 1 crit luck to neutralize my whole team, ending attempt 1. I'm a little embarrassed, honestly. Thankfully, we make it back in a pretty short amount of time. I catch and evolve Brain again, and we're ready to take on Misty, except this time, I teach Brain Thunder Wave and mine Mega Punch. I lead with Brain, and Staryu does less damage than last time as I 2-hit them. But now Starmie's back. The luck I got from Misty going for an X-Defend last time is gone, as Starmie instantly crits on Bubble Beam. Thunder Wave lands, and now I'm going to mine. Bubble Beam gets the speed drop as they enter, but Mega Punch crits, negating any badge boost I'd have gotten. Misty uses an X-Defend now, and I miss 2 consecutive Mega Punches while Tackle crits. Water Gun sends mine to 4 HP, and I've gotta sack them. Mega Punch crits again as Starmie KOs with Bubble Beam. I send in Brain, and Confusion leaves Starmie on a sliver as they go for Bubble Beam, but we survive on 5 HP! The run's alive, and we just got our second badge with 1 more Confusion. RIP mine though, that was such an unlucky way to go. We have to get through this house to move on, but this Rocket Grunt has a Drowsy. To get past them, I teach Brain Seismic Toss. It takes a bit thanks to Hypnosis, but we do it in the end. We make it to Vermilion and hear this guy lose it to his Rapidash. Someone should really call Pokemon Protective Services. We now have a problem though. Brain is already at the level cap, and we need to find some way to get cut and through the SSN before they level up. But I don't think it's possible. There is one solution, however. On the adjacent Route 11, we find and catch a Drowsy and nickname Behavior. Behavior is only at level 9, so training them up takes a while. After a bit, we get on the SSN and I run into my rival. I can't use Brain in this fight because they're already really close to breaking the cap, so Behavior's gotta carry this. Pidgeotto hits a quick attack as Confusion does half. A second takes Behavior to 2/3 as Confusion gets the knockout. Next up is Raticate, who misses a Tail Whip as Confusion sends them to a quarter. 1 more hit and we can take them out and level up in the process. I accidentally misclick and go for Confusion on Kadabra, who outspeeds and uses one of their own, but neither does much. And now I switch to Pound as Kadabra starts spamming Teleport before ultimately fainting. Wartortle is last, and Confusion looks like it's doing half before Bubble sends Behavior below half. 1 more lets them survive on a Sliver, but a Retroactive Potion! Nice! Next turn we get the win. And now that our rival's not stopping us, we can freely pursue our real passion. Massaging sailors. It's time for Surge, but I accidentally start with Behavior. Time to make lemons, I guess. Surge uses an X speed as Confusion does half. Voltorb hits Sonic Boom, probably the worst thing it could have used, and Confusion takes them out as Behavior levels up. Pikachu misses Growl, and then we actually crit on Confusion to take them down too. But now the real threat is in. Raichu does massive damage with Thunderbolt as Confusion only does a quarter. It's time to switch. Brain doesn't take much damage from a Thunder Shock, and then I decide to just go for Seismic Toss. It looks like it's going to be a 2-hit as Raichu uses another Thunder Shock, and it is! Raichu gets knocked out for a 3rd badge. It really wasn't too bad, though Raichu definitely had the potential to be a lot worse. But now we've got one of the more interesting challenges of the run. We've got several routes to go before the next cap, and we're only a collective 8 levels below it. Make that 7 as Behavior evolves in the very first battle post-gym. We get out of Rock Tunnel at level 28 each. There was a random hiker who demanded respect before immediately getting floored, and then the famous hiker with the self-destructing Graveler was really scary, but I led with Behavior, took Graveler to a Sliver with Confusion, and then they just defense curled. That could have been awful, but we made it through. Even though we're immune to ghost types in this gen, I still run past Lavender Town to make it to Celadon City, where I can now take on Erika's gym. Just outside, I meet this guy, and there's truly no one I wish I could fight more than him. Ew. I take on a couple gym trainers here, and get Behavior to the cap, and then catch Erika by surprise to take her on. Now that she's sleepy, we've got the upper hand. I lead with Brain, who crits on Sidebeam to immediately take Victory Bell out. I'm pretty sure that mattered. Good job! Tangela gets taken to half as a Constrict doesn't even really do anything big. And then we take them out with another to get Brain to level 30. But even with that level boost, Vileplume survives Sidebeam with a quarter, and hits Petal Dance to take off a 3rd before we can finally take them out for the win. Thankfully now we'll get some more encounters to work with. The worst is finally over. But first, we meet a woman hiding away. She bribes us with Fly to leave her be, which I happily accept. I now have to take on Team Rocket, and after fighting some extreme nausea, we make it to Giovanni, though we steal a super potion from behind him first. Gotta love stealing from thieves. He's pretty easy at this point, and his Onyx goes down to a single confusion. Rhyhorn survives on a sliver to take off a little with Horn Attack, but then another confusion takes them down. Kangaskhan scares me a bit, but he just uses Guard Spec and confusion takes the Kangaskhan to half. Next turn it outspeeds, but uses Rage! Best case scenario, so we get the win, and then I realize I'm sitting on the Silph Scope like it's an egg. I hatch it and move on. En route to my next destination, I encounter Mr. Psychic. I'm threatened by his existence, but he gives me the TM for Psychic to appease me, which I gladly take. I make a beeline for Pokemon Tower, where I find my rival. He is certainly choosing a weird way to grieve his Raticate, but he needs to take us on. I let him and then promptly one-shot his Pidgeotto and Growlithe. Execute goes down in 2 Seismic Tosses as Barrage only hits twice. I decided to paralyze Kadabra for some reason, and then they do nothing as Seismic Toss 2 hits. I then get a crit on Psybeam to get rid of Wartortle. The level advantage made it easier, but this battle's never too bad. I get to the top and then meet this man who looks just like a Ditto. He gives me the Pokeflute, allowing me to go south to my next big destination. After beating a Snorlax and taking a terrifying self-destruct, I get to the Fishing Guru's brother's house and get the Super Rod. This is going to be essential for me. I immediately fly back to Celadon and fish, catching a Poliwhirl, which I trade for a Jinx in Cerulean. Then I head up east and fish a Slowpoke on Route 10. I catch them, but it takes me a while because I totally forgot that status moves that are the same type as the opposing Pokemon don't work in Gen 1. Very weird game. I name Slowpoke Neuron. Training both of them up is pretty tedious, partially because Neuron's so slow that they can just get totally sleep trapped, and partially because Lola the Jinx doesn't learn a single special or stab move until level 31. But I slowly make my way to Fuchsia City, where I immediately go south and fish for a Staryu, which has a 1 in 4 chance of appearing. I catch one after nearly killing them and name them Nurture. This is now the 3rd Staryu I've had in the challenge, and what a great evolution line. I'm really excited to use this one too. My final encounter is an Execute. Execute can only be found in the Safari Zone, and I'm not totally sure about the rules for catching Pokemon in there. I'll need to look them up if I do a Nuzlocke where I have multiple options in the Safari Zone with old school mechanics. But with only one Pokemon, we don't really need to worry about that. There is one rule I'm adding though. Because of the funky catch mechanics, I'm treating every area as an attempt. Execute appears in all 4 areas, so that means I get 4 chances to catch one. So let's go through them. Entrance, not you. Area 1, not you. It actually takes so long and the inputs are so sensitive that I wind up running into a Kangaskhan before the Area 1 Execute, and I'm forced to retire right after. Alright, round 2, let's go! After wasting hundreds of steps, we get an Execute encounter, and not that one. Oh, wait, it didn't run! Let's go again, and we got it! I name Execute Nature. It wouldn't have been the worst thing if I didn't catch one, but I'm really glad I did. Now it's time for training, and in the process, I use a Water Stone and a Leaf Stone to evolve Nature and Nurture. A little bit later I get Neuron up to level 37, where they evolve into Slowbro. We really just went from 2 Pokemon struggling to stay under the cap to a fully evolved, at least for the purposes of this run, team in a matter of minutes. I really love these weird imbalances in pacing now. It's also out of nowhere, you never really expect it, you know? Just as a quick aside, I realized while editing this that I broke a rule and trained Nurture up to level 27 before I evolved them. I wanted Recover, but because Staryu isn't Psychic, I shouldn't have been able to use it in battle. I'm sorry about that, and I hope it doesn't ruin your experience watching this. Thankfully, I don't think I actually used Recover at all during this challenge, so hopefully it won't be too big of a presence. But level 37 is actually going to be the final level I get my team to for this gym. Because Koga and Sabrina have the same cap, I'm trying to keep my team low enough so we don't go over level 43 before Sabrina. And actually, even with all these new encounters, I'm still going to lead with Behavior, who just learned Psychic via level up. And with Psychic, this fight gets a whole lot easier. Coughing 1, done. Muck, done. Coughing 2, done. Wheezing, done. Oh no! Oh my god! Oh, we survived?! Let's go! I head to Saffron to take on Silph Co, and these guys must be the most exploitative company if this many of their workers defect. I wonder if they even pay overtime. I end up meeting my rival here, and while his Pidgeot hits a quick attack on Nurture, 2 Thunderbolts take them out, followed by a Surf on Growlithe. I switch into Lola the Jinx on Execute, who takes a Leech Seed but KOs with a crit Ice Punch. Then it's time to go into my secret weapon. I bring out Nature, And I need to show you the strategy I've been using for a huge chunk of grinding. Because Alakazam is Psychic, I can't use Hypnosis, so I go for Stun Spore instead, as it just goes for Recover. I hit Leech Seed next, and now I can just use Strength, and smack away as they faint. Blastoise is last, and I end up missing 2 Hypnoses as they outspeed and use Bite, though thankfully no flinches in the process. But once I get Blastoise to sleep, I can set up Leech Seed and just go to town. Strength doesn't even do that much damage, but Blastoise never wakes up. God, I love how broken Gen 1 Sleep is. Even though I just keep missing Hypnosis a lot, once you put a Pokemon to sleep, they are stuck there. Giovanni is even easier. Nidoqueen paralyzes, but Neuron gets the job done anyways after a couple freezes. After embarrassing the fighting dojo, I'm a little scared for Sabrina. Her team is just going to be really bulky on the special side, even if, for the most part, they can't do that much damage to me. If she gets a little luck though, she might be able to rip through my team. That means it's time to bring out the big guns. I lead with Nature, who uses Stun Spore on Kadabra after taking a Psychic. Now I hit Leech Seed as Kadabra uses Psychic again. Now Strength KOs. Mr. Mime is out now, and hits a crit double slap. It only hits twice, thankfully, but that could have been rough. After Stun Spore, Leech Seed connects, and they're paralyzed, so now 2 more Strengths take them out too. Next up is Venomoth, the Pokemon I'm most worried about actually. They outspeed and hit Poison Powder, which could get scary. Hypnosis connects, thankfully, though. And so does Leech Seed. I hit a Strength to take them to half. They wake up, but now it doesn't matter as I can just take them out. Alakazam is last, and I've still got 2/3 HP. They waste their first turn just going for Recover as I hit Stun Spore and then Leech Seed. Strength takes them to a third, but then they use Recover. No worries, a couple more will take them down. Oh, we got a crit! I'll definitely take that! 6 badge is ours, and Nature is a menace. I pretty much go straight to Cinnabar Gym, and after a little bit of grinding, I take on Blaine's mess of a team. This egghead thinks he's so smart, so we need to show him real brains. Now it's Nurture's time to shine as Surf takes down his Growlithe, Ponyta, Rapidash, and... Oh, Arcanine survived! But Blaine just uses a retroactive super potion and another Surf gets us the win! Eat that, nerd! And with beating Blaine, we now got a not needed, but still really appreciated special badge boost, permanently boosting our special stat and allowing it to raise whenever any other stat is changed, thanks to the badge boost glitch. As if my team wasn't scary enough, they just got way more power. Giovanni's gonna be fine, so I don't even bother grinding on more than just the gym trainers. I lead with Neuron, and while I wish I could say this battle was hard, Neuron can just sweep his whole team. Sure, they got outsped, but that's not important, right? Surf takes out Rhyhorn and Dugtrio as Neuron levels up. Nidoqueen, who actually poisons us. Nidoking, who, thanks to Neuron's bulk, hits an extremely weak Thrash. And Rhydon, who... Wait, no! No! Oh, I forgot they had Horn Drill! And thanks to Neuron's low level and speed, they become an easy KO. That was really dumb. At least Nurture can get us a quick win, but that was rough. I got too overconfident and didn't plan at all. Outside of having Earthquake, Neuron wasn't the most essential Pokemon on my team, but now I'm about to face the rest of the game without a full squad. I box Neuron and then decide I really need to grind now, so I get my team up to level 53. I also buy a bunch of Carvos because I want to make sure that I don't have another Rhydon Oko problem. So after injecting my team with a bunch of PEDs, they're finally ready to take on my rival. I open with Lola the Jinx and immediately take out Pidgeot with an Ice Punch. Rhyhorn follows. With Growlithe, I switch into Brain, who loses about a quarter to takedown before getting rid of them with a Psychic. Execute is next, and I paralyze them and just start spamming Seismic Toss. But then Execute uses Stun Spore! I was really thrown here. Bulbapedia said the Execute had Poison Powder instead. That makes this fight a little bit more annoying. Not here as we take Execute out, but on Alakazam, Psybeam confuses and then we get paralyzed, so I have to switch. Psybeam crits on Behavior, which is just perfect. And then the next confuses. God, this fight is awful. Behavior gets off Toxic, thankfully. And then the next turn, Headbutt crits and brings Alakazam to the red, after which Toxic gets the KO. I switch to Nurture for Blastoise, and 2 Thunderbolts get us the win. We were stuck in status hell for a second though. But now it's just a straight shot to the league. Back off, Onyx. My team was at level 60. I was gonna show them, but I had an accident where I taught and then deleted Psychic on Lola, so my bad, I got really flustered. I was gonna use her to sweep Bruno. How will I ever handle him now? Lorelei is easy. Nurture uses Thunderbolt to get her Dugong under half as they respond with a weak takedown. One more gets the KO. Cloister's a one-shot, and then Slowpoke can't hurt me even though I can't KO, but I just get a retroactive Super Potion. Jinx goes down fast, and then while Lapras hits me with Body Slam, no paralysis, and then a Thunderbolt gets us the win with Nurture still over half. Bruno is really challenging. I nearly break a finger clicking Psychic so many times. His whole team gets one-hit swept by Brain. Machep goes down on a crit to add extra insult. Now Agatha could be really tough. If I did this in another game, her team can't hit me, and I use Brain's last 5 Psychic PP to take her team out in a single hit each. She thinks Pokemon are for fighting, but hers are for fodder. As an aside, I'm loving the Elite Four rooms in Red. They look so awkward and unimpressive, it makes these fights really charming. With Lance, I go back to Nurture. I hit Thunderbolt and take out Gyarados. Then 2 Blizzards take out both Dragonairs. I switch to Surf to get rid of Aerodactyl, but then Blizzard misses on Dragonite and they actually hit a pretty hard slam. But no worries, we get the win next turn with the final Blizzard. God, I love Starmie. Okay, it's just my rival, and he tells me he's assembled teams to beat any Pokemon type. Well, let's see about that. I'm actually a bit worried because my team is underleveled, and this shows up fast as Lola just barely doesn't KO Pidgeot. They just use Mirror Move, so it's fine, and we KO next turn. I didn't realize Lola didn't know Blizzard either, so I really messed up with them. It's a little embarrassing, honestly. Well, Alakazam is next, and I accidentally click Ice Punch because I'm distracted by my realization. It does decent damage still, and Alakazam goes for Reflect. I go for Body Slam, which crits, leaving them on a sliver. Alakazam goes for Reflect again, way to fumble the bag here, and I KO next turn. Rhydon is up, and Ice Punch not only outspeeds, but also crits, taking them out. I'm so glad we avoided a repeat of Giovanni. I send out Nurture now that Arcanine is next, and take a Leer. Great, now I've got a badge boost glitch too! Surf KOs. Then on Exeggutor, Blizzard crits and leaves them alive on a sliver again! What's with all these barely surviving Pokemon? I guess this team is just sorta resilient. Surf KOs after a Stomp, and then it's just Blastoise. Thunderbolt sends them to a third as they go for Bite to bring Nurture under half. But now, after all that, I use a final Thunderbolt to get rid of Blastoise and beat the game. Beating a Psychic-type hardcore Nuzlocke in Pokemon Red wasn't exactly the hardest run I've ever done, but I thought it was really charming. I got to use Pokemon I don't really get the chance to use much, like Mr. Mime, Jinx, and Exeggutor. While Misty was surprisingly hard, there thankfully weren't many obstacles we faced after her, and I got to focus on growing my team. I had a lot of fun working within the limitations and weirdness of Gen 1 while developing movesets, even though I kinda messed it up at the end with Jinx. Taking advantage of Gen 1 sleep, especially, was a blast, and even though I didn't use Nature in the Elite Four, my Hypnosis Leech Seed strat was probably the biggest power trip I've ever had in Pokemon. Who knew a tree could destroy pretty much any Pokemon so easily? Even though I was undermanned, my team was able to punch above their weights and make us a champion. And that's a wrap. If you liked this video, please feel free to give a like or subscribe to my channel. If you have any suggestions or things you'd like to see me do, please feel free to leave a comment, at me on Twitter, or email me with your suggestion at ed40plays@gmail.com. Catch you all next time!